Hello, my name is Rosalind Hardy and I'm a young adult with Aspergers syndrome. Some things I like are animals, helping at my local stables, Facebook, my cat Merlin, playing the piano, reading, also my 2-year-old nephew Dylan and my new baby niece little Astrid. Some things I don't like are rude people, wasps, cruelty to animals, spicy foods, people making assumptions. We are all unique. People have made and still make assumptions about me when they find out I have Aspergers syndrome. They assume I can't make eye contact. I can. I don't like to be touched or hugged, and I'm not sociable. I think I am. When I was very young, from a very young age, I have fine motor skills. I could tie my own shoes and do up buckles, plus hold a pencil well. I used to pretend to be a cat. I found this easier than being a human child. I could read out loud, but couldn't use speech to communicate, so I could read from a book, like a child's book. I could read the words on it, but I couldn't look up and speak to everyone, like speak out loud. I used to escape from buildings. So when I was 3, my mum hid the key. She used to hide it really up high, out of reach, and I obviously saw this and climbed up to get the key, because the next thing my parents and my sister knew, the door was wide open, there was a big draft coming from the door. They ran out to see me running down the road with a sewing basket in my hand and a huge grin on my face. Luckily, my sister managed to grab me before I got to the road. Before school, I attended a kindergarten part-time, then a nursery. They tried very hard with me, but I was very difficult to contain and manage. When I started school, I attended a behaviour unit in a mainstream primary. They tried to integrate me in the mainstream school, but this didn't work out as I was too disruptive. I couldn't speak properly until I was 7 years old. I used to lash out at other children at school because I was really frustrated. I fell in love with animals and found them much easier to get on with than humans. So I ran away from school. This is a little story I wanted to share. I ran away from school when I was 6 to see a cat. It was a ginger cat, I remember very well. And we ran away from school. We had to go over the A3, yes, on the bridge, not on the road, luckily. And then we got to the house, my friend's house, see my friend's cat, and the cat was in the distance in the garden and hopped away. And then the mum came out, and only then did I realise, there might be some consequences for this behaviour. And the consequence was that I lost my only friend, which, because the parents didn't want me seeing their child, and the school thought it was inappropriate to see the child. So it's a shame the way things worked out. Getting a diagnosis. My mum thought I might have some additional needs when I was 18 months old. Well, actually, she said it was probably from when I was 14 months old, partly because of my behaviour. I was diagnosed with Aspergers syndrome when I was 7 years old. Having a diagnosis at an early age really helped me. I don't remember getting my diagnosis or when exactly my parents first talked to me about it. My mum and dad were very honest with me, and I knew from an early age. They were always very positive. Like when they first heard, they talked to their friends about it, and their friends were like, "Oh, but aren't you devastated to learn that your child has Asperger's syndrome?" My mum was like, "No, this is brilliant. Now we can get her the support she really needs and the help she really needs." So it's really good. I know my mum sometimes felt negative, as in, oh, what will my life turn out to be like? She was very worried for my future, but she never passed that on to me, so I always felt they were really positive with me. Growing up, I started a new school, which was a specialist school for speech and language. This school particularly helped me with understanding language, not taking things literally, and improving my behaviour. It helped me learn new language and communication skills. And I made a good friend, which I still have this friend now. My friend Rosalind, I still have now as a really fantastic best friend. I moved on to a specialist MLD, which is moderate learning difficulties, secondary school. This school helped me academically, and I learned to be more independent. I really enjoyed my secondary school because everyone accepted everyone else for who they were, and I felt a part of the school. And also, I made more friends. I was ready at 16 years old to move to a mainstream college. I studied equine studies for a year, then 4 years of animal care. College taught me more independence, and there were a few ups and downs, but generally it worked well. Things that were tough growing up. Communicating was hard at first, so I was really frustrated, which affected my behaviour. And I had real difficulty in making friends. This was partly because of my behaviour, and also because I didn't really know how to make friends. I hadn't learned that yet. And it took time for me to make friends. Unfair consequences for my behaviour, like the cat story and losing my only friend. Getting blamed for things that weren't my fault. So I specifically remember a story of a broken ruler, and I specifically remember it wasn't me. It definitely wasn't me. So. But the children seemed to blame me, and the teachers were questioning me so much and so hard that I felt like I had to say yes, it was me, because it was too much pressure. It was far too much pressure to not say no, and I couldn't handle the pressure anymore. People not taking my phobias seriously. Like, at school one time we had some Christmas crackers, and I absolutely hate Christmas crackers. I'm really scared of them, that's one of my phobias. And their solution to this was to put me in a classroom completely on my own, with the teacher popping her head round the door saying, well, just checking I was okay. And actually, maybe they could have done that another way around, like pull all the crackers at first and get rid of all the debris, and then I go in. Or after having Christmas dinner with my friends, I go out while everyone pours crackers. So maybe there could have been another way around that. Things that went well. Some things went really well when I was growing up, including getting support at school with my communication, taking part in a person-centred planning project. So this was a project where I got a full circle of support from friends, family and professionals, and they helped me do things like travelling to Battersea Dogs Home for work experience. And so travelling to Battersea Dogs Home meant changing at Clapham Junction. And I was around 15 at the time, and I hadn't really travelled independently at all. So I had a travel buddy with me the first couple of days, and then I managed to do it on my own, which was a huge achievement for me. Being supported by people who took the time to get to know and understand me. Attending activity groups for disabled young people. Getting involved with the participation team and giving my views. So I've been, as a young person, now I've got a slightly different role being an older person, but I'll get into that a bit later. But being a young person, I was involved a lot in the recruits crew for the participation team in the Kingston Borough. In the Kingston Borough. And so with the recruits crew, we were interviewing people that are going to work with disabled young people. And I even gave a couple of people the job at one point. So I had to be really professional, and so we've discussed everything with the managers, and we would now like to offer you the job. So, which was fantastic, a fantastic opportunity to have. And yeah, and also presentations. I've done a lot of presentations everywhere, which has been fantastic and has really helped with my confidence. Challenges now. Some of the things that I found challenging now are my phobias. So I've got a real phobia of balloons, crackers, Christmas crackers, thunder, fireworks, party poppers, any sort of loud, sudden noises that I'm really sensitive to. And it does make it difficult to go out into town sometimes. There's lots of balloons. I find that really tricky. So it is really difficult. Also, stressful situations, new environments, judging if and when to tell people about my Aspergers syndrome, because I don't really want to be judged or treated any differently. At the stables I go to, I haven't really told them that I've got Aspergers syndrome, because I don't want them to treat me any differently. I don't want them to say, oh, well, we best not tell you when you're wrong, because I want people to say if I have done something wrong and say to me, oh, you've got to do it that way next time, and so treat me like a normal human being. So yeah, that can be tricky. Also rules, not safety rules, like I'll stick to religiously to the driving rules, driving the speed limit. I will do that. I will not go over even by 1. I won't go 31, I'll go 30 miles per hour if it's 30 miles per hour zone. But I find rules what I call silly rules tricky. Like I went into a museum at one point with my parents, and then one of the managers said, "Oh, could you take your backpack off and have it by your side?" And I was like, "Yeah, but why? Because I'm not going to knock into anything. I know I'm not going to knock into anything, so why do I have to?" But actually, the participation officer at Moor Lane said it, Grace Over, said it in a completely different way that I now think of and I now completely accept. She said they couldn't discriminate against people, so they couldn't say, "Oh, well, this person, you're wobbly, you have to not have your backpack on. Oh, but you're fine, you're not wobbly." They couldn't do that. That's absolutely awful. Of course they couldn't. So to make sure they're not doing anything discriminating, they have to do it one for all. So they have to do, everyone takes their backpack off, then no one's being discriminated against. Now I just think of that. So it's all good. Also, this is a real challenge, that Asperger's syndrome no longer exists as a diagnosis. That's a big challenge because I have Asperger's syndrome. I don't have autism or ADHD. I have Asperger's syndrome, and I think it's more about identity, where you fit in, and it's so difficult that they've taken away that identity, and everyone's autistic now. So yeah, that is tricky. Things that help. Some of the things that I found helpful are people understanding my phobias and making allowances for them. So like checking for balloons before I go into a room. Being with people who understand me, my diagnosis, and how it affects me. People explaining why rules are in place in a way that I can relate to. Having familiar people with me in new places. And people not treating me differently because of assumptions they have made about Asperger's syndrome. Strengths and achievements. Some things I'm good at are driving, leading horses, interacting with animals, and playing the piano. Some things that I have achieved are passing my driving test, luckily first time. The weather was very lucky that day. Also having a variety of jobs, so I do some dog walking in the week, I do my stables at the weekend, leading the ponies for children who are teaching children how to ride or taking them to the park for little rides. Also I have got a new role as sessional worker as part of the participation team with Grace Overville, who I've done a lot of work with. So now I get to help on the recruits crew and any presentations that people are doing. I actually get to help out more and work for them and any admin that they need me to do, which is fantastic. I love it. And also the training. So I've been doing lots of training around England so the first lot of training was about engaging and involving young people with special needs. So lots of professionals came who run services or work for services, and they were learning from us how to engage with young people. So that was fantastic. Went to Birmingham, York. Oh, York was fantastic, Harry Potter land, and lots of places, Nottingham, fantastic, Manchester, and this time I'm doing some more training with a parent this time, Isabel, who and young person, Joe Fortley, who I'm doing it again with, and we're going around the country talking about autism and post-16. So again, a fantastic opportunity, really the best work opportunity I've ever had. So also overcoming nerves and increasing confidence. So I was really nervous when it came to presentations. There was this one presentation I had to do that was in front of 350 people. It was absolutely terrifying, and I was so ridiculously nervous, but I managed to do it. And now I'm like, oh, 50 people, easy, you know, it's only 50 people. 100 people, yeah, I've done 350 people. So now I'm like, yeah, that's it's all good. Hopes and dreams for the future. One of my dreams I've actually done, and that was to travel to Australia. I got to my 30th birthday year it was, and in 2018, I'm giving my age, it doesn't matter, I'm young, but I got to go to Australia and travel around, which was absolutely fantastic. I got to cuddle a koala, feed kangaroos, go to the neighbour's set. There's the 3 things I definitely wanted to do. Neighbour's set, absolutely amazing. See Ayers Rock and Uluru. Oh, just fantastic. So, and I also would love to go to Africa on safari and just see the big cats and big animals. Also like West Coast of America, I'd love to go to Canada. Lots of places I'd love to go. I would love to meet, always a hope or dream is to meet my favourite celebrities. I do love a celebrity or two. And also a future dream is to live more independently. So that is more for the future, but yeah. Important messages. We're all different. Don't make assumptions about us. Even if children and young people can't speak, they can communicate and give their views. Phobias and sensory needs are serious. Please don't underestimate them and always try to understand. Treat us as equals, but also as individuals. We are not defined by our diagnosis. Thank you for listening.